Good day for affiliates. No Colten yet. Don't see him. Oh, there he is. No Rambler yet. Yeah, fuck. Someone go and check on Rambler quick. Hey,
What's up, Peter?
how are you?
Good. It's been raining here all day, so it's kind of a bummer outside. I was hoping to work on the doghouse a little bit this afternoon, but I'll have to wait and see what the rain does.
I built a doghouse once.
How's that?
I fucking wish I had a picture of it. It's well, like, you know, have you ever seen? There's Ricky Gervais does a bit about dragonfly or not daddy. You know, daddy longlegs. What do you call those? Like they're always in
Yeah.
your house in winter. They call daddy longlegs there.
Yeah, the spiders?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And he was like, they have the most poisonous venom, but they have no way to deliver it. Like they have no teeth or whatever. So it's like God was like, hey, give this one the most poisonous venom. And he's like, oh, how? And he's like, no, you're not allowed to bite it. And I was like, how? I was like, no, but don't do it. It's like, fine, I'm taking your teeth. I feel like when I was like being created by whoever created me, they were like, right, give him, he can be tall, that's fine. Yeah, inability to grow a beard, throw that in. Yeah. DIY, no, he doesn't need any of that shit. Like zip, he can pay someone else to do stuff. He doesn't need any like DIY skills. I can't hang a picture. Um, but I took this notion. So we got a dog. My wife and I were living with my dad, and we got this dog house. We got this dog, and there was like perfectly good sheds. He lives on a farm. There's perfectly good sheds. But I took this notion I was going to build a kennel for the dog. So I got, like a pallet, like a wooden pallet, and
Hmm.
used, I basically used 5 pallets to build this shed, like this little hut.
Okay.
Um, didn't like didn't take into consider. I was like, well, the water won't be able to get in because it's off the ground, and that was literally all I thought about. I didn't put any extra
Hmm.
thought into anything else. It's still there. It's still at his house. The dog's dead now, unrelated to the house. Um, and the dog was alive for like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. Never once set foot inside. Like looked at it, was like, fuck that. I'm not going in there. So whenever I see like you doing like building your gym in your house in between your sets and going out and like doing I'm like, this guy basically got all the things that I could have had a little of but got none of. He got all of it. Like when you say doghouse, people might picture a kennel, but it's a big like
Hmm.
it is actually a house. Like
Yeah, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that people, if you're not experienced with building stuff, there's a lot of things that you wouldn't think about that go into it. But yeah, it's gonna be eight, so it's 8 feet by 8 feet, and it's got an 8 foot ceiling and all that stuff. So it's gonna be more like the weenie shack for the dogs, and
so it's
we
only,
got
and
a
like weenies are dachshunds, aren't they? Isn't that
mhm.
the same dog? So why the
Yep.
fuck did you put an 8 foot ceiling? Surely like 2 foot would have been enough. It's just like they'd still be like, wow, this is so spacious.
That's what the doghouse they currently have is 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and it's a 2 foot ceiling with its slope, so it's 2 feet on one end, 3 feet on the other. But I wanted to build them a second one in case any of them get pregnant during the winter, and then this way they'll have another place to go away from their dogs, and it'll be spacious for them. And 8 foot ceiling is kind of like the standard building height. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I did. It works out well with the materials, and then like me or somebody else can go in there and stand upright and take care of the
Yeah.
puppies or whatever, and all
Let's
that
call a
stuff.
spade a spade. Colton, you do not need 8 foot of ceiling height either. You still
I
got to
don't
save
know.
some materials.
But my dad is he's over 6 feet tall, so if he's ever
Fuck, is
gonna go
he?
over there, yeah, I'm gonna adjust
Jeez.
my tripod a little bit. It's a little
What
bit
about your
short.
your uncle is knocking around as well? Is he tall too?
Yeah, all my uncles are over 6 foot.
Again, like this is bizarre, but like I feel like we're intertwined somehow. My dad is 4 foot nine, 4 foot 8, 4 foot 9. I'm 6'1", my brother's 6 foot, my sister's like 5'10". Like I definitely question. I don't even know if he was at the conception, to be honest. Um, but like at all his brothers, he has two brothers, and they're both 6 foot. Well, one of them's dead now, but he was. You probably don't shrink when you die, but he's 6'4". The other brother was 6'3". and then he's like, and he's always been short. At their wedding, I was gonna say, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, as if he's gonna fucking watch. At the wedding photos when he married my mother, yeah, he had to stand on a box like for loads of the wedding pictures, so they're the same height. Um, that's mad. Maybe he's your dad and your dad is my dad. That'd be weird,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
maybe.
That'd be quite a
Maybe. I mean, my
coincidence.
my brother's not super tall. He's 5'8", so he's 4 inches taller than me. But
Okay,
yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be kind of under your dad's position. I'm gonna have kids, and they're all gonna be way taller than me.
giants, yeah. Um, why dachshunds? Why wiener dogs?
Well, this is a really interesting breed. They're actually bred to hunt badgers. That's why they're kind of long and short, so they can get into the holes in the burrows easy. They're just like they're a really funny breed. They have great personalities, and there's like a lot of like unique kind of quirks about them and their personalities and kind of their mannerisms. And I was initially drawn to them because I'm like, hey, that dog's kind of like me. They've got short legs and long torsos. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I went and bought 5 of them within the course of like 2 months, and now we breed them.
And how many, say, breeding adults do you have? Like, how many? Like, have you got like one male and has he got like a harem
Yeah.
around him or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. We've got our one male Otis, and we got 4 ladies for him.
Wow,
Hmm.
what a, like, I was going to say what a stud, but like literally what a stud. He must be
Yeah.
exhausted. Um, and do the others, like, when it's not? Do they all spend time together all the time? Like, say, the adults.
Mm. Yeah, they're always together, whether it's outside in their playpen or if it's inside, and they all sleep together in kind of the little kennel or whatever. And so they're always together. They actually get kind of separation anxiety when one of them is not
Oh
around.
wow!
The other ones will kind of get worried and anxious. They like to all be together all the time.
And do they all come into heat at the same time?
So typically, sometimes they will. Dog cycles will kind of link up. So we have 2 of them that do come into heat at the same time, but then the other 2 are separate from them. So
Yeah.
we should have those 2 coming into heat pretty soon, I think. So hopefully we'll have some puppies in the next few months.
That's cool. Otis he'll be earning his keep in the next
Yeah.
couple of months. So, trudging from one side of the doghouse to the other. I'm coming. What are the females' names? What are the adult females' names then?
So we've got Mabel and Millie are our 2 short hairs. One is black and tan. One is chocolate and tan. Then we've got Margot and Martha are the 2 long hairs. And again, one of them is chocolate and tan. One of them is black and tan.
Cool. Don't ever say the phrase "black and tan" on this podcast again, Colton. It's
Black
got
and tan.
some historical connotations in this country. Um,
Oh.
I'm just seeing some comments here. Is this fucking true about Daddy Longlegs? They kill all the bad spiders. I didn't hear that before. Do they?
That's what I've heard too, but I don't know. I've heard they eat like a lot of different insects and things like that. But yeah, I don't keep them
Yeah,
around because
it's
they just
always
get
a
annoying.
first. It's the first marker of a serial killer, isn't it? Like if you're pulling the legs off a daddy, because the legs just fall off.
Yeah.
Like if you took blow on them. So I think that's the first marker. And then Nick says they call them daddy long legs because long legs wasn't kinky enough. It's accurate. Long legs, no, dirtier. Okay, daddy long legs. Yeah, that's good. Um. So okay, I'll just fucking ask this. Fine. Have you had to jerk off any dogs yet? Has
No,
Otis
not
ever
so.
needed assistance, or is he good at doing the job himself?
So the first time he did a really good job. He bred Mabel, and then since then he hasn't been able to get it done with any of them. So one was just recently in heat was Margot, and we kind of tried like putting them together alone in their pen so they could do it. And I think Margot, because she's the smallest one, I think she might be a little bit too short. So next time around, we might have to intervene. But I've helped my brother because he breeds dogs.
What
He has a
dogs does he
bunch of.
breed?
He's got like labs. He has some Saint
Oh,
Bernedoodles.
can you crossbreed like a dachshund with other, like, could you have like a
Mm,
golden retriever sized dachshund or a dachshund
yeah.
sized golden retriever? Or would the bitch die? Like would it just not work?
Typically, if you're gonna do like a small dog and a large dog crossbreed, you would have the female be the larger dog. That typically
Okay, yeah.
works out better. But
I'd
yeah,
say
because he pretty
Otis is
much
like,
CrossFitted
I'm
and
not, no, I need a step ladder. I'm not doing that. We used to
yeah, but
have a bull. We got a bull years ago, and we used to have an older bull, and then he was like, kind of shooting blanks, I guess. So we got another bull out, and he was fucking wired. Like he was a psycho. You couldn't go near him. But he was shorter than the old bull. So we have this like footpath beside the shed, and we used to have to put him standing up on top of that and have the cow like down at a lower height. And like my dad was like, "No, this will definitely work." And I was like, "But those two animals do not understand what you're trying to do. Like it makes sense to you looking at it from this perspective, but the bull is like, why am I up here? And the cow is like, why do I have to stand so close to this curve? It doesn't make sense." Yeah, no, it was a shit show. We didn't have cows for about 2 years. But we figured it out after that. So he does Labradors, and then it's like, so when you say breeding, it's like you like, okay, when you say breeding dogs, that kind of has here anyway has general negative connotations here, but it sounds like you've got 4 pets, and then you just utilize the fact that they produce offspring rather than like lock them in a fucking basement and be like, it puts the lotion on its skin kind of scenario.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so like I guess some people would call it like a at-home breeder or something like that. So, I mean, yeah, they're definitely pets first. Like, they come inside every day and they hang out with us, and we eat dinner and hang out on the couch with them in the evenings and all that stuff. They get treats and they go with us places, things like that. So I mean, it's definitely not like a puppy mill or a dog barn type situation.
And
Um,
what if they've had puppies before, yeah?
mhm,
How
yep.
many have they had? Like, how many have you sold or given away or whatever?
So we've had one litter. Mabel had 4 puppies. And like the typical size for a Dotson litter is usually 4 to 6 pups.
Okay. And how long do you keep them for? Like 8 weeks, 10 weeks?
Yeah, exactly. 8 weeks and 8 to 10 weeks is typically the range for most breeds. Sometimes if you have like a really small puppy, you'll keep them till 10 weeks or so. But
Yeah.
kind of the rule of thumb is they're ready to go to their new home at 8 weeks.
And do you like avoid bonding with the puppies? Like, did you make the mistake of being like, oh, let's keep them all, and then having to give them away and just be crushed for like 2 weeks?
Yeah, it does kind of it's kind of sad when you have to give them away because it's kind of like right when they're starting to develop personalities around like the 6 to 8 week mark. So you kind of get
Yeah.
to know them a little bit, and so like obviously, yeah, we're not like running a dog barn, so the puppies are doing all the same things that our dogs are doing, and they're hanging out with us and all that stuff. So it's interesting to get to kind of see their personalities and kind of see like different traits that the mom or dad give them and things
Yeah.
like that. But it's kind of it's kind of bittersweet because you're like finally getting all these puppies out of the house, but you're also kind of sad to see them go.
Yeah. Although toilet train and all that stuff is someone else's problem then, so you don't have
Yeah.
to deal with all that. Um, and then I wanted to ask you about CrossFit then. So like you obviously so you're just perfect segue, like seamless. Are you in your home gym there now?
hmm Yeah,
Is
this
that
is
is
the
that a
gym home.
totally separate structure to like is that purpose built separate structure?
Yeah, so basically there's a wall right there. On the other end of that wall is the house.
Okay.
So it's basically a really tall garage, essentially.
But did you extend it out? Like that wasn't there like 18 months ago. The fucking thumbs up. Look at this shit. That's never happened before. Did you extend that out yourself?
So it's just like a completely new structure that we built.
Okay.
It's like new house
Fuck
and
off.
gym and everything.
How do you turn that off? Um, I've never seen that.
Does it
I've
work
seen
for
it
you
happen to
too?
Savannah, all right. No, it doesn't work for you. Does it only work for me? And now it's not working anymore. No, I don't know. That's yeah. If they're giving out podcast awards, Colten, we're on. Oh, there you go. Um, did you so you built that? Did you get someone out to do? Is it a wood structure? Yeah.
Yep.
And did you get someone to do that, or did you do that?
We did a lot of it, but we hired out some stuff. I mean, there's certain things that would just take us forever, and we're not professionals at, like plumbing and electricity. I can do like minor jobs, but I wouldn't trust myself to like take on a whole house, and it would also just take me forever to get it done. So if we were gonna
Mm,
ever move in, we had to hire out some things.
that's cool. Yeah, I spoke to you about this kind of stuff second day on the Sunday of Crash, but like hilariously, so I lost all the audio from the second half of the day because I was at Madrid and there's this thing on my camera. I'm really shit at like the technological side of it. I can get the footage, I can edit the footage, I can upload the footage, but I can't like do anything fancy with it at the time. And I was saying to Hiller, like, oh, when I was in Madrid, the last day of Madrid, I lost all the footage because I recorded it all in slow motion. And if you record it in slow motion, it doesn't look slow
Yeah.
like on the screen. It just looks normal. But like all the sound, like just doesn't record and you can never get it back. You can speed up the footage, but have no sound. So that's what I did with you and Austin. I like voiced
Yeah.
over and like put the footage back together. But he was like fidgeting with my camera and he was like, oh, I figured out a way that like that won't happen again. He was kind of like messing with it or whatever. And he goes, yeah, it should be fine now. I've changed the frame rate. And I was like, all right, cool. What does that mean? He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. He's like, is there a way for you to test if it's working or not? And I was like, well, not here. No, I need to like record something, take out the SD card. He's like, I'm sure it's fine. And then like on the plane, I sat down on the plane on the way home, put it in. And I was like, Colten's moving very slowly in this bit. I was like, motherfucker, he fucked it again. But yeah, so we talked about this then. So just if you're wondering why I'm like rehashing all this stuff or why I didn't use any of the footage from talking to you that day. So you built it yourself, like essentially built it yourself. That's crazy though. The farm, like like how many hours a day would you say that you I was going to say lose to the farm, but like give to the farm, as in like what time? So what time do you get up at, and then what time? Like, do you train during the day in between jobs, or do you get all your work done as quick as you can and then go and train?
So typically I'll get completely finished up with the farm first, and then I'll go into training. And then the time after that is when I spend working on the house. And at the farm, it's kind of just different every day, from like how much time I'm there to when time I had to get up. And it could be anywhere from like getting up between 4, or you can sleep in a little bit and not get to the farm till like 7. But I mean, also there's
Sleep in,
days where,
sleep in a little bit. Unbelievable.
I mean, there's days like where I just have to do chores or whatever, and there's no like big projects or any problems at the farm. I might only be there for a few hours, and then like last Friday, I was there for from 4:30 a.m. till or 5:30 a.m. till 8:30 p.m. and then training after that. So it just kind of depends.
Sorry,
But
what happened? You said if there's nothing big, it's quick. Did like a shed fall down? Like what happened that day?
now, so we emptied a barn Friday morning. We loaded up the last pigs in there and took them to market. And they moved up the schedule for when we fill the barn. We were supposed to fill it the following Tuesday, and they changed it to Monday. So I ended up washing the whole barn that day after chores and everything. And
Oh,
it's kind
this
of
is
like an
because
all-day job.
you kind of contract for like a giant pig conglomerate or whatever, basically. Is that right?
Sort of. So there's like a lot of big ones out there, but the one that we work with is Southeast Iowa Pork, and they're pretty small in terms of like what else is out there. But so we contract through them, and then then you have to contract through a meat processor, so like a Tyson or something like that. So they do Tyson. So basically, they have a contract for Tyson for X amount of pigs per year or whatever, and then they pay us X amount per pig to raise it.
Okay, so it's like foolproof for you, basically. Like,
Mhm.
is it a set rate from them? Like, as
Mhm.
it like a guaranteed? Is X is guaranteed? It
Yeah.
doesn't fluctuate on your end.
hmm Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
exactly. So we get basically the same, and then they get like the market price from the meat processors. That's kind of how pretty much all pigs are raised now in the U.S. ever since like the 80s or 90s is kind of when it switched over. Because otherwise, you'd have to be a really big player in the game, have a lot of capital to kind of get into it. Otherwise, or you would have to sell directly to consumer, and the laws around like USDA and like just how you have the meat processed, or it makes that pretty difficult.
Is it the same there? Like, so here, like my dad's still a farmer now. He's like reined it in a lot, but like if it wasn't for grants and stuff, like there's no way farming would, like the agricultural sector in Ireland would collapse if it wasn't for like land grants, animal grants, like disadvantaged grants. Is it the same there?
So it depends. So not every farm is the same. So like so like Mertens farms, my dad and my uncle, we have like pigs. My dad has pigs, my uncle has some cows, and like you don't get a lot of subsidies or grants or things like that for livestock unless you run like a dairy. You might get some. As far as like corn and soybeans go, I think because we also grow that, we do get some stuff for that. But the thing is, it's done more so like if you think about it from a macroeconomic standpoint, you don't if you were just allow like the free market to do its thing and not have subsidies to keep more farmers producing, then you would end up, eventually supply and demand would find their equilibrium. And with food, that's kind of a dangerous thing to do because you're not overproducing, then you have like widespread bad weather or a crop disease, then you're going to have famines. So it's the subsidies are in place in the U.S. to create a surplus of food to protect against things like that. And what ends up happening on the farmer's end is you get an oversupply, which does drive down the market price, but then you also get some subsidies from the government to kind of offset that. If it was to kind of go away, what happened for the farmer on the farmer's end would be some farmers would go out of business and prices would be down, but eventually when those other farmers do go out of business and supply goes down, it would drive up the price, so farmers would actually be making more per acre. And on the macroeconomic end, if there was like a crop disease or something, then it'd be a lot of trouble as far as like food storage goes.
Um, whereabouts do you live?
So it's like the middle of the United States, southeast Iowa.
Okay. Is there any mafia or anything there?
Mafia, not just the
Yeah.
Mertens Mafia.
I was just gonna say, because isn't it like a way of getting rid of people? You feed them to pigs. Isn't that what like
So I've heard,
allegedly
yeah,
isn't that what the mafia
yeah,
do? Yeah, allegedly.
yeah. I mean,
Not the Mertens mafia though.
yeah, they would do a good job. I mean, they don't waste anything and they're quick. Like they don't have any feelings about it either. Like hypothetically, if I was to like be doing chores in the pig barn and like for some reason was to like collapse or pass out, I mean, like they wouldn't waste any time before they tried to eat me too.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's
Are
a
they
lot
not
of
supposed to be
people.
like really intelligent?
Ah, man, I don't know. People like I hear that, but it's like
I hear that, but then I see them
intelligent
every
compared to
day and I'm
what?
like, no.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like intelligent compared to what? So I don't know. Maybe they're smart by compared to some other animals, but it's also different being like a domesticated pig versus like a wild pig. I don't think their brains probably develop in the same way. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually how a lot of farmers or pig farmers end up dying. If something happens where they will like go down in a pig barn and then the pig just eat them.
Yeah. Yeah, like people are saying in Snatch, like, yeah, I've seen that, but I kind of assumed that was like, for dramatic effect or like because it's a movie. I didn't think it was like
Yeah,
if a guy who like gives them their food every day fell over, they just eat him. I'd just be like, fuck this guy, he's food now.
yeah, yeah. They don't
Um,
care.
yeah, man, that's crazy. So
There's a quote from Winston Churchill. Actually, I was reading a book about him, and it goes something like, "A dog looks up to you, a cat looks down on you, but a pig looks you in the eye and sees you as his equal." So it is. They don't like. It's not like a dog where they're like, "Oh, thank you for my food" or whatever. They just kind of see you as like one of them, and if they can take advantage of you, then they definitely will.
yeah, I have heard that like a dog will die of starvation beside you. A cat will just eat you. Like, it'll just be like
Yeah.
if it gets locked in the house, the dog will like lie down, die of a broken heart, and be like, "I'll never leave your side," "Arr," and like die. The cat will just like start eating your toes. Like it'll probably actually guaranteed it start at like your face. It wouldn't even have the decency to start somewhere else in case
Yeah.
you were just in a coma or something. Um, that's crazy. So yeah, so fairly intense. Have you reined back? Like, have you been able to pull back your workload on the farm? Like, have you been able to say to your dad, "Hey, like, I've got the paper street and the tier money now. Like, you can get fucked. I'm gonna do. I'll do the bare minimum for you." Maybe not in those words.
Um, there's been some things at the farm that have kind of helped me with this. Like they've taken on, my dad and my uncle have taken on a lot more crop land the past couple years, and so some things have kind of worked out with the pigs where we used to rent a lot of barns, and those
Yeah.
barns have kind of gotten to a point where they either need remodeled or they need to be shut down, so they ended up getting shut down. So we went from raising about 15,000 pigs a year to about 7,000 a year now. So that has
Okay.
helped a bunch. And
How
no, I
seasonal
pretty
is
much,
that? So how long do you have? How many times a year do you have no pigs? Say.
so we have pigs all the time. So
Okay.
we basically have three groups, and they're all at different like ages. And so we'll just have pigs all the time. And it's a quick turnaround. Like when we sell out and empty a barn, like all the pigs have gone to market. Like this last one, we emptied it on Friday, and then Monday morning we got baby pigs in.
Yeah, that's cool. Um. Okay. So sorry. So you're what age is your dad?
53.
Okay. So he's not like retirement age yet, really. Is he just
No.
reining it back in just for his own sense of quality of life, basically? Is it?
Yeah, so just also kind of how things have worked out with the economy. Right now, to build a pig barn with interest rates, it's kind of hard to make the cash flow. Like you can make the payments, but there's not going to be anything extra afterwards until the mortgage or whatever on it gets paid off.
Yeah.
Just with interest rates right now. So otherwise, we were gonna build a couple more barns the last summer or so. But that coupled with just the opportunities to get more farm ground for corn and soybeans has kind of put that on hold.
And is your uncle and your dad shared land or just two farms that are beside each other?
Mm. Yeah, so it's shared. They're they'd be the two like I don't know like heads of Mertens farms and it's all together. But then they also have their separate stuff. Like my dad, the pigs are just his, and then my uncle has cows that are just his and like that.
That's cool. Um, what's your dad like with you doing this? Like, is he like, does he get it? Does he support it? Does he understand it? Is he like into it? Or is he just like, that stupid fucking CrossFit? Like, is he like grumpy about it?
When I first started and like wanted to compete, he was definitely like not super excited about it. He wanted me to just kind of like work on the farm and like not have time for training and things like that. But he's definitely come around now, and yeah, he supports it and watches all my competitions online and things like that. And even like leading up to the games this year, he gave me 3 weeks right up to the games where I didn't have to do any farm work, so I was able to just focus on training for those 3 weeks leading up to the games. He just
What
kind
was
of did
that
all
like?
the stuff.
Like, how did that sit with you? Not like, there's two sides to that. So one, it must have been weird not having to do it. And then
Yeah.
two, if you're not doing it, it means your dad has to do it. So like, how did that
hmm
sit with you? The fact that he was taking on more for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely appreciated, and this worked out well. That it wasn't like a super busy time during the farm. Like typically with agriculture, the busiest times are going to be in the spring for planting and fall for harvest. So middle of the summer helped a little bit, and also yeah, for me it was just kind of weird, like waking up in the morning and being like, well, I guess I can just go train now. I don't have to go to the farm. So it was weird. So yeah, I got a lot more time to train, more time to sleep, and just worked on the house a lot.
That's cool. What stage is the house at now? Like, is I can see you, you're still working on the gym and
Mhm.
stuff at different stages, but is the house like completely finished?
So the house is it's finished up to the point that it's functional. We have almost all the trim work done now, so we just have a few more windows to put trim on. And then we'll have to just go back through and fill nail holes and paint and things like that. And I'd say like the only other major thing is the vanity. So we just bought like an old dresser. You can see it back there on
Oh yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
Marketplace, and we're gonna turn that into the vanity. So once that's done, the house is pretty much completely finished. And for the gym, you can see up there. I have a little bit more
Oh yeah.
plywood to put up on the walls. Um, so it's basically just above the garage door over there, and also up there in the corner above that loft. And
Ah.
over there, we're gonna build the rig. So once we get the rig in, it'll pretty much all be done.
And what's the plan for the gym? Like, because Ari alone was on there a while ago, and she was saying that she's going to do like kind of workshops or have people out and coach. Are you like considering doing something like that as well?
So right now, I just definitely don't have time to do a ton of stuff like that. But Al and I are definitely interested in the future of like having people out here to train or just hang out like on weekends or things like that, or maybe doing like some training camps or whatever and stuff like that. But she coaches for CrossFit Teo, CrossFit gym in Mount Pleasant, so she does like personal training and coaching over there. So maybe like in the future we'll have like just some people that want to compete or just like do local comps come out here for weekends and stuff like that and kind of get like a training crew together. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Even if she does like PT, she could be like, okay, I'll charge you $40 an hour to charge you there, and I'll charge you $120 an hour, and you can be in the same room as Colton. When I coach you, you can come out here and look at the dogs and stuff.
Yeah, you can
Um,
hang out with the dogs.
so Cave said everyone like and subscribe to the channel. Now there's two channels he could be talking about. So he could be talking about this one, which is how I'm taking it. But he could also be talking about your channel. Um, your Were you expecting this to garner as much attention as it did?
I was kind of hoping it would. I thought it'd be a lot of people would probably like to see kind of the day in my life because it's way different than any other CrossFit Games athlete. The majority of them are not working a job at all, let alone working on a farm doing manual labor and things like
Yeah.
that. So I think it's probably was interesting for people to see kind of how I start my day and how it's different than a lot of other games athletes and things like that. But yeah, that one's done a lot better than on any other videos we've made. But I think I'm also getting better at editing and thumbnails and things like that too as we go on.
Do you enjoy doing it? Do you enjoy that, like the creative outlet? Well, when the fuck do you have time to do that? Like, at what stage of the day are you like, all right? Because I know like how slow and laborious it is to be like cutting bits out, leaving bits in, whatever. Like, how do you find like, do you do that first thing in the morning, last thing at night?
So I typically do it when I'm eating dinner or doing recovery work, like stretching and things like that, and or just like there's been times where like I have 5 or 10 minutes here where I have downtime, or like yesterday I edited a video while I was waiting for the truck driver to get there to deliver our pigs. So it was like 10 minutes where I just edited a video there.
It must be
Um,
so alien for your dad. Like you're sitting there like with your headphones on, like editing the video. He's just like, "You're not my son."
no, I think he's pretty used to it now, and he's kind of
Yeah.
he knows I'm kind of weird, and but yeah, I'm his son. He's kind of weird too, just in different ways.
Yeah, I think all farmers are a bit weird. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Has he mellowed out? What's he like? Is he like angry, calm? Like what kind of guy is he?
He's usually pretty happy and goofy.
Okay.
He's kind of like if you're going to like a bonfire or something, he'd probably be the person that like a lot of people would be talking to or hanging out. He's like 100 times more social than I am. Um,
God,
but
your
when he
house
gets
is
mad,
beautiful. I wanted to say that to you as well. Like it's really, really nice inside.
yeah, it's coming along for sure.
Really cool.
Yeah, Allie didn't let me design most of it. She let me pick out the ceiling fan, and I got to give her some input on some things, but it's more like I tell her what I wanted, and she just kind of does what she wants anyway. But
Yeah.
she's done a good job with it. Mm.
Really good job. This is Savann's favorite bit of the whole the whole vlog, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big fan of that bit. So your dad is goofy. Yeah, okay, yeah. So he's basically not like farmers. He's like, different from farmers. That's cool. Um, does he I'm just trying to link again with my own dad. Does he get like irrationally angry at inanimate objects or animals? Is that like a trait that he has?
100%. I've never seen
Yeah.
anybody get it, and he's passed that down on to me, whether it's genetics or just because that's what I grew up with. But Allie makes fun of me a lot. But yeah, like working on a farm, you're basically constantly fixing things or doing repairs, and just how mad he gets when like things are not like working the way that they should or things like that. It's pretty
Yeah, no, he
hilarious,
like
and he gets mad at me for laughing at him, and then now I get mad at Allie for laughing at me.
I've heard I've heard like patterns of swearing from my dad that I've never heard from anyone else, or that like I don't think I ever will. Like just so aggressive. But the thing is as well, it goes from 0 to 1,000, but then immediately back down to 0 again. So it's like, it's like Vesuvius just erupts, and then it's like the volcano's gone now, it's fine, everything's fine again. Whereas like, other people like seed for like a couple of weeks or whatever, like, or a couple of hours even. He just like explodes, and then it's like, right, we go in for lunch. It's like, are we not going to talk about the emotional abuse I just suffered at your hands? It's like, you
Yeah.
just screamed at me for standing in the wrong position in the gap and frightening an animal away, even though it didn't even fucking see me. And now we're just like, it's fine again. We'll just go in for a cup of tea. Everything's fine. Yeah, that's funny. That it's obviously a farmer's trait then. And I
Yeah.
also have it as well, where, my most common time where it happens is if I'm trying to move something from one position to another and I don't take the time to clear a path, and I'm like, trying to pull something at one pull, I get so angry with the thing, even though it's my own fault for not like maneuvering it properly. I was like, fuck's sake, like trying to pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and then I'll be even more angry if I break it. It's like, again, it's like entirely my fault. Yeah, that's funny. So the channel then, that's so you edit all that yourself, and where do you record that? Do you have a camera to record it on?
No, I just use my phone and
Oh man,
Adam's
you're a
phone, so
fucking
we do all of
stud.
it on there.
That's cool. Yeah, I set this up. I was actually kind of embarrassed setting this up because like I'm kind of, I don't know, this kind of stuff is a bit weird. But there's a membership thing. I don't know if this is going to show up when I put it up. Does that come up? No, it doesn't come up. Is that coming up in the live chat as the actual picture? It's not coming up as a picture when I share it. But I put up like little emojis and stuff, so you can join, and it's like a monthly amount. It just makes my life a bit easier, like because
Nice.
money coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about a wrench? I gave Wad Zombie a wrench, like because I panicked one day before I started doing lives about shit. What do I do if someone gets abusive in the comments? I can't remember how I did it. I think I did it in actual YouTube and not in this. So I'll do it at some point. I just don't know how to do that. No, channel will be cancelled if I imitate my dad. Channel will be cancelled immediately.
Yeah.
I'd also be cancelled. My dad would be cancelled. Like, it's not worth it. Like, honestly, fucking hell. Like, if you think I'm bad, like, for swearing, geez, he is like next level. But then I see him with my kids, and it's like, where the fuck was this guy for the last like 30 years? Like, who have you suddenly become this like super chilled out, mellow? Like, I was thought my son is a psycho, and he was like wrecking the house the other week. And my dad was in, and I said, yeah, like, geez, he's hard work, like, and dad goes, like, had him on his lap, and he goes, you're not hard work, are you? You just know your own mind. And I was like, what? Like, what? That is so out of character for you to respond like that to, like, I was like, fuck this. So when did you start doing CrossFit then? Because I was looking up, so you were at the games on a team in 2018.
2018. Yep, I started.
Yeah, when did you start?
CrossFit in January 2017. Was when I first started. So basically in high school, I was pretty focused on wrestling and ended up having a knee surgery and shoulder surgery from injuries during that sport, and just was wrestling all year round and was kind of getting tired of it, and found CrossFit and thought it was super interesting and really wanted to get into that. So I was recovering from shoulder surgery my first semester of college, and then my second semester is when I just Google searched like CrossFit gyms near me, found CrossFit Kilo in Cedar Falls, and went there and joined. And about a week later, got on their competitor program. And yeah, in 2018, we had a couple of people who were regionals athletes the year before, back when they had regionals, and then that next year, like, just barely missed the cut line because kind of the philosophy at that gym was like, if you can qualify individual, then you go individual, and then we kind of scrapped together the team with everybody else, and it kind of ended up working out well for the team in a way that kind of like the top couple people just barely missed individual qualification, so they got to be on the team, and that kind of gave me an opportunity to get some experience with our regionals and games team.
So you started doing CrossFit, and a week later started doing the competitive programming.
Yeah,
So
man,
that's
I knew
like
I wanted to
that's
compete
like
right
the
away.
quickest the quickest trajectory. Usually it's like I started CrossFit, I did my on ramp, and a week later I was in classes. But like you started CrossFit, and a week later you were doing the competitive thing. So did the skills and stuff like that come naturally to you, or like like obviously if you, I mean, if you're going to the games in whatever 16, 18 months after you start doing it, I'm assuming you are somewhat of a natural with it. Would that be fair?
Yeah, definitely the body weight skills came a lot more naturally just coming from wrestling. It's a lot of like body awareness type stuff. The Olympic lifting definitely took longer,
Yeah.
especially because like at my high school, our weightlifting program, I'll just say they didn't teach us the best technique. So like doing power cleans and stuff like that, like walking into the gym, I didn't know there's a difference between a power clean and just a clean, like a squat clean. I thought they just sometimes they chose the right power, sometimes they just left it out. Um, but CrossFit Kilo, I think, did a great job of teaching me the correct forms and things like that. But it definitely just took longer to develop those mechanics for especially like Olympic lifts.
Yeah, it's funny. I still assume that if I just see clean, I just like, they obviously just forgot to write down power. That's fine. I'll just um SEK, what the fuck is that? SEK, Swedish, Swiss, South African. What's SEK? What would that be? Icelandic?
uh,
I don't know.
yeah, I
Does
got
she
no
look
idea.
Icelandic? Does Maggie look Icelandic? I don't know. Tell me where you're from, Maggie.
Maybe.
Thank you. I also have not like when I saw 65, I was like, fucking hell, that could be like $2 for all I know. Like, I don't know. Oh, Swedish kroner. Okay. Um, why did you search up CrossFit? Had someone said it to you or what?
I think I actually saw it on I think ESPN. I was cleaning my room one day and just had like ESPN or whatever channel it was on in the background, and CrossFit came up. Um, and yeah, I just sat down and watched it for a while and really liked it, and ever since then, just really wanted to do it. That's kind of it's as
Who
simple
you
as
keep?
that.
Who caught your eye? Was there anyone in particular that caught your eye?
Um, Not in particular, but I think they were doing like a run on a beach, and they were doing like pull-ups and things like that. And I was like, I feel like that's something I would like to do. I can maybe be good at that because I'm like wrestling. I wasn't the most technical, but I was always the strongest and in better shape than anybody that I was matched up against. So I feel like it'd be like just a good transition, a good sport for me to transition into once I got done wrestling. Since
That's
that was
cool.
kind of the part that I enjoyed the most anyway, was the like strength and conditioning.
And did you suffer any kind of wake up calls or anything during it? Like, was there any part where you were just like, "Oh, this is way fucking harder than I thought it was"? Was it basically the Olympic lifting, or was there like, did you ever do a competition where you were like, "Oh fuck, like I thought I was good and I'm actually not good at all"?
Um, so when I started CrossFit, I think like 3 weeks after I started was the CrossFit Open, and like I'm pretty quiet and reserved, so I didn't say anything. But my mind was like, "Oh, I want to make it to regionals," and then obviously like not even close to making it.
3 weeks in.
But like I remember the first competition I did, it was just like a local comp in Des Moines. I can't remember how long it was after I started, but I think I ended up taking like third place overall. But I remember the very first event, it was like some box jumps and some pull-ups and overhead squats maybe or something like that. And I remember I didn't really have like a good awareness, like floor awareness, and being able to like see where my competitors were at. So I remember my judge like kept telling me like, "You're doing great, keep going, you're doing a good job." But I thought I was in like last place, but I thought I was like a whole round behind. Um, so my mind was like, just shut up and just let me like finish out this workout. But I think I ended up winning that heat and doing okay. So that was kind of nice. I was like, okay, maybe I can be kind of good at this.
What's it? Has self talk always been positive? Has it been like what do you like inside your own head? Do you like is has farm work taught you to just like be silent and like have nothing going on in there, or do you still like argue with yourself or beat yourself up a bit?
Yeah, there is some elements. My uncle likes to tell me a lot when he needs me to help him with something. He goes, "I need a strong back and a weak mind," is what he always says. So sometimes that can help in CrossFit when you just have, it's like, okay, I just need to get this work done and just keep moving. And eventually, if I keep making progress, it'll be done. But I think, like anybody, you always have a lot of self doubt and kind of negative thoughts. And that's always going to happen, pretty much regardless of what situation you're in or what mind space you're in. But I think what matters and the skills that you can develop is how you deal with that and kind of how you respond to that. So you're always going to have those negative things and self doubts come up in your mind, but not giving into them, not feeding into them is important. And kind of relaying or going back against those with some positive self talk. And typically, the easiest way to develop kind of confidence and kind of a positive mindset is to be adequately prepared. Just training hard and doing the things that you know you need to do, and then you can kind of get into a mind space where you say, all right, I did prepare as hard as I could have prepared. So there's things outside of my control, but I did everything I could do, and I know that. And something else this helped me a ton personally is kind of the Stoic philosophy of not worrying about things outside of your control. Has helped immensely, and that's definitely the reason I was able to qualify for the games again this year, just with all the stuff that I had going into it. Just being able to, because it can be really fatiguing if you have, this constant negative thoughts and things in your head, and you're just trying to like spending a lot of mental energy fighting those and like trying to combat those. It's like you're arguing with yourself all day. But if you can kind of get to a point where like you're going into a workout, you're like, yeah, this might not be great for me, or this person can run faster than me, or that person can lift more than me. You can get to a point where like, yeah, maybe they can, but none of that stuff really matters. The only things that I'm going to worry about are things that are directly within my control. So I'll go out and have the best performance that I can, and then the cards are going to fall where they fall.
And so I'm assuming there's workouts that you look at and think, oh, bollocks. Like
Mm.
this, your classic, like, I'm assuming if you see like some like kind of long run, rower wall ball, like that kind of stuff,
Mm.
you're just like, right, great damage control. Um, is your aim when you go into those to like to surprise people, like as in, because I know that you pay attention when people analyze and when people say like, oh, I think he'll finish here and I think this person will finish here. Like I've heard you talk about that in the past. Most notably when you like body slammed Brian Spain on this podcast recently. But like, is that your aim? Like, is that like, do you kind of make a game out of it in that sense of like, all right, that person said I'm going to finish 21st. Well, let's finish in the top 15 and shut them up. Is that kind of what you do?
Yeah, definitely a lot of that, and also kind of specific goals on certain athletes that I want to beat. Whether it's because I just don't like that person, or if it's because I think that, or if I'm like, well, people probably think they're a little bit better than me at this, but I think it's reasonable or realistic that I can beat them here, or maybe they're just really good at it. I think maybe I've made a lot of strides here, so I can probably take them out on this event. It's kind of a lot more personal for me like that, rather than just like prove like general people wrong. It's more like I want to beat this specific person. That's
Who like
also also like a
what
great.
kind of athlete would you not like?
There's a lot of them.
Why? Okay, why would you not like an athlete? What reasons would you
Um,
have to dislike someone?
I certain personality types just kind of don't vibe with me. Um,
Is
some
that
athletes
like
I think
the
are
kind of gregarious types, like the kind of loud types, or like the kind of
could
like
be.
braggy types?
Yeah, it could be that. Could be people that are. It sounds bad, but like I don't like people that are happy all the time. It just kind of annoys me. But
So
yeah, I mean, there's some of
If
that.
you and Noah are going out for a workout, you're like, fuck you, man.
I hate losing to Noah. Yeah. I don't. That's not a. Yeah, competitive wise for sure, but like I don't dislike Noah as a person. I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
good for the sport, and
You
don't
basically
waste
just
any.
put it. You pick out certain people and put a target on their back when you're walking out
Hmm.
onto the floor. So you see like,
Yeah.
Noah, Medeiros, like those kind of people. You're like, fuck you, man. I'm gonna burn it down. um,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
oh,
reasons. Yeah, like personality types, or maybe just something that they said before, or CrossFit is it's a very it's a very passive aggressive in how the athletes talk to each other. Um, most of um, most of the athletes are kind of too chicken shit to just come out and say like, yeah, I'm probably gonna beat you on this. They'll come out and say they'll sit next to me at semifinals and they'll go, Yeah, I think these are a lot of big guy workouts. I think this will be good for me. And like obviously I know I'm the smallest guy there, but I'm like, okay, now I definitely have to beat you. And then I did. Now every time I compete against that person, my goal is to beat them. I don't care if I get second to last place. If I beat them, that's a win for me.
Is that one specific person you're thinking of?
Yeah, there's a specific example with this person. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Um, so that's like what you're taking there is that they tried to basically put you in a box and like kind of make you doubt yourself going out onto the floor, basically.
Yeah, and they're just trying to get in my head and yeah, just trying to push that narrative of like there's a big narrative going into the semis this year that it's better for bigger athletes, and they're kind of trying to push that narrative. I remember we were just like getting ready to go to our briefing. We're in the athlete warm-up area, just all hanging out until it's time to head over to the brief. And he sat down next to me and were talking to me about that, and I don't forget anything.
Yeah. Who was that?
I beat him at semis, and I beat him again recently, and I'll beat him again next time we compete. And there's other athletes that uh,
How recently did you beat him? Like 2 weeks ago?
I beat him recently.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Wow, okay. Oh yeah, okay. Now
I don't think
everything's lining up.
I
Yeah,
don't think
so
I've ever lost to them.
someone so you don't like you like targeting athletes when you go out on the floor that are happy all the time, and then also you beat someone recently who yeah, okay. A lot of things are lining up there. Yeah.
Well, also
The rest of you can do the maths.
even somebody like Austin Hatfield, he doesn't really fit into either of those two categories, but he beat me at Crash, and now he's on my list too. So now I got to beat him at Wadapalooza.
Yeah. Is there anything did you talk to him again about going on a team?
So yeah, we're not gonna do team or anything like that. Yeah, it just didn't quite work out, but
Because you
maybe
hate him
next
now.
year.
He's like, "Hey, Colton, what about doing that?" No, fuck you, man. I'm gonna like I'm gonna cut your throat in Miami. Fuck you. That's pretty funny. So his team is off the cards now altogether because I know you and Scott were trying to put a team together.
Yeah, so maybe next year they'll get a team together, but yeah, it'll be just Indy this year.
I guess unless a team of 3 games athletes has one drop out and says, "Hey, Colton, what do you think?" Because that's the only because Scott would have had to do the qualifiers, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because for the to get an invite for team, you have to have two games athletes basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, it is. It's yeah. I'm just still thinking about that. These are big guy workouts moment. Sorry, just kind of I'm dwelling on that too long. Yeah, Scott Tetlow. Sorry, Matt's asking what Scott I'm talking about. There was something else that I saw here. Challenging to Fit Wars. Yeah, that'd be good. Are you going to do Fit Wars again?
Anytime, just ask me.
Oh, what if we could set it up with like one of those types of people? Would that like add to the impetus for you to be like, fuck yeah, I'll do it twice?
For me, for sure it would. Yeah, and
Uh,
I also just think that maybe in this sport it might help it grow a little bit better if we can kind of create more storylines and rivalries and things like that. Like I think a good storyline is kind of like me and Nick Matthew. Um, in 2021 and 2022, it was us both right at the edge, right on on either ends of the cut line for semifinals, and then I beat him both times. And we get to the games, and he beats me at the games, and then so now it's kind of like I got 2 semifinal wins, he's got a games win. Then we go to semifinals next year, he beats me at semis. We go back to the games, I beat him at the games. So now we're kind of, we're always kind of head to head. So I think, something like that could be a good storyline as well for the sport. And I think that we should put more of an emphasis on the athletes to kind of create those kind of storylines and rivalries. And maybe we don't always need to be friendly and super nice to each other. We don't always have to be best friends, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where the savannahs behind the scenes and stuff comes into it, where you can cultivate those or like share those storylines more than like that interaction between you. I mean, that interaction between you and James Sprague basically at semifinals, where he said, this is a big
James
guy's workout." If that
James
was
wasn't
like,
at my semi though.
oh, okay,
He's at
fuck, I don't
East.
know who it was then.
James, I don't know if James would ever say something like that either.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, he is a happy guy, but I don't think he'd say that to you. Who
Yeah,
the fuck did you meet
I
recently?
don't think he would. I don't think he would say that with the intention of getting into my head or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I was like, that's the only person I can think of that you've beaten recently. Oh fuck! Just text me the name afterwards because that's gonna just like break my brain. Sorry, James, for assuming that was you. So um, what was I saying there about? Fuck. Oh yeah, storylines. So if that had been caught on camera, that's like really gonna ramp shit up. Because like even the stuff with Adler and Roman, like that was
Mhm.
fun, but like we don't know what actually happened or what was said or you know what I mean. It's just kind of
Yeah,
yeah. Um, Travis wants to know, Vindicate, can he make a Colton versus everyone shirt?
absolutely.
There you go.
Let's do it.
Permission given. Verbal contracts are binding. 80% of proceeds go to CPW. That's fine, no problem. So, so okay, so you like to beat those kind of people. Are there other so like there's like Hiller and like his videos and stuff, and he's put out videos about like
Mhm.
Natty or not, and he's put out videos about like rep shavers and cheaters and stuff like that. Does that add to it for you as well? Is that another character type that you're like, fuck you, man, I reckon you're on drugs and I want to win, or like I reckon you've cheated to get here and I want to win?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's not like I don't know how many people are on PEDs, or I mean, I don't have proof of that a bunch of people are on PEDs or anything like that. I try not to speculate too much personally, but if there is somebody that I'm like, yeah, that person's on or whatever, then it's definitely added motivation. That's kind of like they'll get added to the list. Like this is a sub goal of, I want to win this competition, but also it's important for me to try and beat this person.
Yeah, like morally, a win for the people.
It also
Um,
just for me like tells me like, this person probably has a lot of advantages. They get more time to train. They have a better body type for the sport, and they're on PEDs, but they still can't get it done. Still can't beat me. So that always makes me feel really good.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. Like, it probably is a fine line between letting your lifestyle or the restrictions that are on you because of, your situation in life, I guess, with needing to work and needing to build your home and, having obligations and stuff, letting that like push you down into thinking of it as a, well, that guy doesn't work and has like a fucking bodywork person come to his house three
Hmm.
times a week and has this, has that, has all these like great sponsorships and stuff, and I don't have that, and I have to work, and I have to, and I'm tired, and I'm sore, and whatever. Probably is a fine line to balance between using it as fuel to be like, fuck these guys, I'm like the everyday CrossFitter, like I'm the inspiration to 85% of people who do this like recreationally to see that they could actually reach the highest level if they just put in the work, because that's what I've done is I've just put in a shit ton of work versus, oh, I'm too tired. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like being downbeat about it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a mindset shift I've gotten better at from, just being like anxious and stressed and worried about it. Like, I remember times where it's like I go to the farm all day and I come home, I train in my dad's garage. Is like I don't have the equipment that I need. I don't have the space. I don't have the time. I'm already fatigued from farming and just like sitting there thinking like, why am I even doing all this and trying so hard? Like, is it even possible for me to get to the games with this kind of lifestyle? Um, but just kind of like pushing through the doubt and just getting to the mindset where it's like, the reality is the reality, but I'm going to just prepare as much as I can, just focus on being as fit as I can be and as prepared as I can be, and outworking and out disciplining and outsmarting everybody else and beating them even if they do have advantages over me.
Yeah. Um, Last January, then you're like everything looked like it was kind of flitting through your like sand through your fingers or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, Walk me through that. So did you feel a deterioration happening, or did you literally just wake up one day and be like, what the fuck is going on?
So yeah, I was prepping for Wadapalooza, and I could definitely feel like it just felt like there's a while where it's like I just am not recovering from training. It just felt like that week where it's like right before you need a deload week, and you
Yeah.
take your deload week, and then you're better, and it's kind of just felt like that all the time, no matter how much I rested or if I pulled back volume or intensity or whatever, and that lasted for several weeks, and then just woke up one day with like a lot of eye pain, just like it hurt really bad whenever I'd move my eyes, and kind of had just like a headache all day. And um, the night before, maybe it was 2 days before or something. I had a bunch of running intervals to do, and it was the middle of winter in Iowa, so I think it was below 0 out that night, and I had about 60 minutes worth of intervals to do. So I thought maybe I got a little too cold last night, maybe my eyes got too cold, and that was kind of causing the pain and the headache. I was like, I'll go to sleep tonight, and I'll wake up tomorrow, and I'll probably be better. And go to bed that night, wake up the next morning, and it's a little bit worse. Eyes hurt a little more, headaches a little more intense, and it's just kind of constant. And this goes on for a few days. I just keep thinking, all right, well, it'll get better. I'll take it easy training today, and tomorrow it'll get better. It just keeps getting worse and worse. And then one day I wake up and I have like a lot of vision loss in my right eye. And I figured I was having something called optic neuritis, which is where the nerve in the back of your eye swells, and it can kind of cause like blurred vision and things like that. And I had that when I was a kid, so I was like, well, I've got to go to Waterpalooza in like 5 days, so I'll just kind of take it easy, and this will go away, and then I'll be fine. And a couple more days go by, and the vision loss keeps getting worse and worse. And then it was like a Tuesday morning or something. I woke up, and this was like a few days before I was supposed to fly out to Waterpalooza, and I pretty much can't see anything out of my right eye, and on my left eye, can't really see anything out of that either. So whereas before I was like, well, I'm just gonna kind of keep doing what I'm doing, go to the farm, do a little bit of training, and I'll get better. And then this kind of got to the point where it's like, well, I really don't have a choice now. Like I can't see, like I can't drive to the farm or anything like that. So called my dad, kind of told him what was going on. Called my brother to come get me, and he gave me a ride to an eye doctor in Iowa City, and they run a bunch of tests. And so I'm there kind of all morning going through this test, and my eyes are can't really see anything, a lot of eye pain, and just like a constant like debilitating migraine that's been going on for like a few days. And they get done with all their tests and everything, and they like told me I need to go to the emergency room like right away. So my brother drives me over there, and they kind of look me over, run a bunch of tests, and I'm in this like a little checkout room or whatever, where so like the little thing that goes over your eyes and got the eye testings and stuff like that. I'm in there from probably like 4 p.m. until 2 o'clock in the morning, just waiting for like doctors to figure stuff out and like get a room available or whatever. And I was kind of expecting like because like with optic neuritis, which is what I thought I had. The treatment is pretty simple. You get prednisone through an IV, and then you take it orally for like however many weeks, and it kind of clears up, takes care of the inflammation that's causing the swelling in that optic nerve. So I was kind of expecting that. I was like, well, I can do that outpatient, and this will all be taken care of. And so eventually
Was the first guy, the eye doctor they went to, was he like, did he know what was wrong, or was he like, oh, you need to go and get checked further? Like, did he give you any inclination of like you urgently need to go to the ER or whatever?
yeah, they told me like I needed to go right away. Like they told me like I
So
didn't
he
have
knew there
time to
was
like.
something like actually big wrong.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they didn't give me any like specifics, but like you need to go like right now. Like you don't have time to make an appointment and wait. You need to go, and they need to get you treatment of some sort tonight. And eventually it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and a doctor from neurology comes in, which I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Like I'm here for my eyes or whatever, and she starts talking to me about the kind of the symptoms that I was giving, and some of the tests that they saw, they thought that I had an autoimmune disease called mild antibody disease, which where there's like I don't know what it's called. It's like some like a membrane or something around your like brain, eyes, and spine that is targeted by this autoimmune disease, and that's kind of what they thought I had, and they wanted to admit me to the hospital, get like full body MRIs, get like spinal tap, all this kind of these testing done, and do treatments there. So I ended up being at the hospital for about a week and just getting all these tests done and everything, and ended up coming back that I did have MOG antibody disease, and that was what triggered the optic neuritis symptoms. And
And was it just your eyes
um,
that were affected? Do I remember something about your back as well?
yeah, so it was mainly my eyes was where most of the nerve damage was done. And I just remembered having like really bad brain fog for even after I got out of the hospital and received treatment for like a week afterwards. Felt like my brain was kind of like operating at like 50%, and just like had a hard time speaking. Like my speech was really slurred, and just felt like just like a slight sense of numbness throughout my whole body from like the inflammation in my spine and things like that. And so it was mainly the eyes, but there was kind of symptoms and damage kind of being done throughout.
What was so take the crossing side of things out of it. Like obviously, I guess worry or like panic about that might have come at a later date, but your immediate thoughts, I'm assuming, are like, "Fuck, what am I going to do? Like, what if I like can't see again or die or what?" Like, there's probably like thoughts racing. What
Mm.
What are the conversations like between you and Ali? Like, is Ali like as stoic as you are on the outside? Is she like, "Yeah, everything will be fine, don't worry," or is she freaking out? Are you freaking out? Like, does she switch to the calm one and you're the panicker, or is it like all calm, or what? Like, what's the relationship like for that early couple of days?
So I mean, she was pretty worried. And we were like in the middle of building the house, and she was like, "Oh, we need to stop building the house or whatever. We're not going to be able to build it now because medical bills, and like you're not going to be able to like do any labor and things like that." And then I was just kind of, I think it was more stubbornness on my part. Like, no, we're just gonna like keep going. And we'll figure it out as we go. And yeah, I was just kind of like mentally, like I knew there'd be some permanent damage. I didn't know to what extent, but yeah, just mentally was like kind of go back to that like sort of Stoic philosophy in the books I've read, and just trying to focus on things I can control. And like I didn't really see a path forward at that time, but I just kind of had confidence in myself, and just I knew whatever happens or whatever situation this puts me in when I leave here, I'll figure it out, and I'll find a way forward to do the things that I need to do, even if I
So
can't
you like
find that path right
was
now.
your immediate plan adaptive division?
No, I wanted to for sure get back into CrossFit. At that point, I kind of figured I thought there was kind of zero chance I would be competing that season. I was just hoping I'd be able to get back into a place fitness-wise where I could compete, in later seasons and things like that. But yeah, like at that point, I didn't know if my vision would come back or what the extent of the damage would be. I guess like the nerves around my brain and my spine. But yeah, I was definitely had the goal of getting back to the open division.
Um, and what's the story now then? So is it like, because you can't like by definition they're incurable, aren't they? It's just kind of like lurks and like kind of
Yeah.
like right, like it kind of come like it's like a tide, but you just never know when the tide is going to come in. So it might now is it the case that it like might never ever happen again, or you could wake up tomorrow with a headache and be like, oh fuck.
Yeah, so basically the doctors don't have a lot of information on like what triggers kind of a flare up or a timeline. Yeah, they're basically like you might not have this issue again for another 20 years. You might have it again next week, and there's no way for them to know or kind
When
of
you get a
gauge
headache
that.
now, or you like just a random headache, are you like, uh oh?
It's more like I know what the feeling is in my eyes when that optic nerve starts to flare. So it's more kind of when if I feel anything like that, that's when I kind of
Do you
start to
feel
get
that?
worried. Mm. Yeah, I can feel
When,
it. It feels kind of like there's something like right in front of your eye, but it's like you want to rub your eye, you feel like there's a smudge there. It feels like something's blocking it and it's a little bit blurry.
like visually something's blocking it, as opposed
Mm.
to like pressure.
Yeah, visually, and there's a little bit of pressure there, but usually don't feel the
And
pressure
so
until it's like
you
pretty far
felt that
gone.
since the major symptoms dissipated, you have felt that again.
I mean, I felt it on and off ever since I first had optic neuritis when I was a kid. And it's like when I was a kid, I had optic neuritis, and they weren't able to test for this antibody disease back then, so they just kind of all I thought it was optic neuritis. And so I've felt that like a lot of times um, since then, but it's just always kind of like maybe here for a day or a few days and it goes away. um, so I can kind of just try and manage that. And
How
if
do you
it gets
manage it?
bad, I'll have to go
What
back
do
and
you
get
do? Do you
treatment.
just rest? Do you do something? Do you take drops? Do you like? Is there pills? Is there something that you can do?
I think managing stress is the biggest thing for sure, like both physical and mental, and just trying to take a step back and yeah, just reduce overall stress. And I actually heard on a podcast recently that there's been some. I don't think they've done like actual studies, but there's anecdotal evidence that like cold plunging, cold tubs can help with inflammation for autoimmune diseases. So maybe my chili goat will help out with that.
Yeah, I mean, you fucking love that thing. Um, is that pure? So was that purchase or that like installation pure recovery based? Was it like mindset as well, or was it this? Did you have one eye on this of like, sorry, one eye? That wasn't meant to be funny. Like, did you have were you considering your autoimmune disease as well at the time?
No, I actually didn't know that when I first got the chili goat. It wasn't until like probably 2 weeks ago. I think it was. I want to say it was the Mark Bell Power Project podcast. It was like one of their podcasts where they did like a mashup of recent or like past episodes around a certain topic, and that came up briefly. But I originally wanted the cold tub just purely for recovery and longevity, like anti-inflammation and things like that,
Yeah. How
and
long do you
sleep.
spend
It
in it?
helps with sleep. Um, Typically, like 6 minutes is what I do. 'Cause, the protocol that I like to do is like 5 to 6 minutes, but I can never bring myself to just do the five. But there's sometimes where I do like upwards of 10 minutes because I just kind of get in there and I get into like a space where I'm like, I'm good. Like I can just stay here. I can just stay here. Like your body,
I need,
you get to a point where then you kind of start feeling like you go numb, then you kind of start feeling warm like around 8 minutes. And it's a super like trippy feeling. But afterwards, I always regret it because I'm shivering like uncontrollably for the next hour or whatever.
yeah, what do you do afterwards? Do you go in and get like, do you try and get really warm, or do you just like continue your day as normal?
I try and just continue as normal to make my body warm up on its own. That's kind of one of the big benefits. Also, is your body regulating its temperature and forcing it to warm up on its own rather than like hopping in a warm shower or something like that.
Um, so I need to play this. Uh, so JR sent me this and was like, "Hey, he was like, when in the first 5 minutes of Colten's video, he has an Irish accent," and I was like, "What?
Exit doors.
Can you
Now
hear that?"
here, I'm going to dig out. And you might be thinking, Coltrain, do you think that you should really be
What accent is that? What are you trying to
I
do
don't,
there?
You
I
might
don't
be
know. That's like
Just
the voice I use when I'm like mocking something that Ali says.
this is so just like this is maybe the best or best Irish accent I've heard from an American person.
Coltrain, do you think that you should really be in the ice bath before you train?
I didn't know that was like Irish sounding.
Oh man, I laughed so much when I saw that. And it's as well because you do it, but then it lingers after you. There's like so after you do that voice, the Irishness lingers for the whole rest of the time. I think it lingers because you're shivering so much and you're not opening your
Yeah.
mouth. So you're kind of talking through your teeth, but it just lingers. This like Irish lilt. I just thought it was so funny. That chili goat, are they the crowd that were at the games in the inside the vendor area? Is that the like who is it? It's not Michael Phelps. Who is it? That's the like
Yep.
poster. Is it Phelps?
Yep. Exactly. Michael Phelps,
Okay,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why they're the
Cool.
chili goat. Hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, if they ship to Ireland, they can send me one for that. That was a free plug there. Travis, you can go fuck yourself. I know I don't sound like that. Someone else said earlier on, I'm not going to be able to go back far enough to get it, but someone else said earlier on, I sound like Brad Pitt in Snatch, and that's actually just like factually incorrect and not fair. Not like it's just like it's baseless racism. The outlook is your outlook on it positive? Is your outlook now like, okay, if it happens again, like is it that kind of stoic outlook, or are you like does it ever come into your head when you do feel that weird thing in your eyes, are you ever like, oh no, like not now, please not, like please wait till after the games next year? Or please, you know, like, do you ever find yourself bargaining of like, no, please, not now, not like this? You're like diving head first into the chili go, be like, not today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's stressful. But basically, I just try to like put on the mindset of it's like not worrying about it until I have to. Like I don't have to worry about it day to day. There's really no point to it. It doesn't benefit me at all to
Yeah,
stress about it or worry about it. Just if there's symptoms, monitor them and get treatment right away. Treatment's pretty simple and inexpensive, and it coincides with CrossFit's drug policy. So it's not really a big deal for me to get treatment if I have to. It'd be inconvenient to drive up to the hospital or whatever, but other than that, yeah, it won't be a big deal as long as I stay on top of symptoms and treatment remains effective. That is
yeah.
best thing to be just not worry about it.
Yeah, if you're like to CrossFit, hey, I need to take some Tren and I need to take GH247. It's just for this autoimmune thing I have. Um, so the semi-finals you mentioned earlier on that you kind of squeaked in by like whatever, an average of like 5 points over 2 years or something, or 3 points over 2 years.
Yeah.
That is, I talked to Nick Matthew about it before. That is to date the worst piece of CrossFit television I've ever seen. Was watching, especially Granite games on the field. It was the longest, most drawn out. Like, were you aware? Were you just literally standing there waiting to hear a name and you didn't care? But you did, like, everything else is like, you know, that in the movie when it sounds like the sound is playing through water because the person is so focused on something. Were you just waiting to hear either Nick Matthew or Colten Mertens and everything else was you were oblivious to it? Or were you like, I'm going to wrap that fucking microphone cord around your neck if you don't say a name now?
I thought it was getting a little bit drawn out for sure, but like I wasn't super stressed or anxious in the moment. Honestly, like once competitions are done, it's kind of always been like this for me. Even at like Crash, where it was kind of a similar situation where it was like knew it was going to be close, but didn't know which side of the line I was going to fall on for winning the comp or getting second. Like I'm definitely thinking about it leading up to the events and worried about it. But as soon as the event's over, it's kind of almost just like relief. It's like, all right, whatever happens now happens, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's my mind just kind of moves forward to the next thing, and I'm just thinking about like, all right, either I'm going to the games, I need to get ready for that, or my season's done, I need to get ready for next season. So that's kind of where my mind goes. I'm not like super, I guess, anxious in the moment.
I suppose as well, because it takes so long, you and Ali and coaches and whoever else can be like adding it, like you've loads of time to add it up and be like, yeah, you're good. Or like, oh, I don't know, it's pretty close. Like I think you're in, but I'm not sure. And I suppose as well the other side of that is like you're because like Ali's there, but she's so invested in it. And if it's as close as 1 or 2 points, she probably doesn't want to be the one to say to you, like, yeah, you're good, you're in. And then be like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get it wrong.
Yeah, I think she told me that before, where like she's done the math and like I think he's in, but I definitely didn't want to like say anything and risk of being wrong or anything like that. And she actually just got into the gym. She's holding Mabel.
Hello. She can't hear me, you've headphones in. I
Yeah,
can say whatever I want about her, and you just have to smile and laugh.
Mabel. This is Mabel.
Wow. Ah, she's nice. And so then it happened that first year. When it happened the second year, were you like, for fuck's sake, like, not again? Like, why couldn't, you know, like, or again, were you just like, whatever?
I was more frustrated than anything because like obviously want to be making improvements each year, year upon year and seeing progress. And I was just like, I'm gonna make a bunch of progress this year, and it's not gonna be close next year. And it ended up being essentially just as close. I think it was like less than 10 points. But yeah, I feel like I did make a lot of progress. There's just that one, the final event, that I did terrible, like essentially last place on. And I was more nervous in the warm up area. I remember just like pleading and trying to bargain with, God or whatever, and just like, is there anything that I can do right now to get good at like stroke climbs in the next 10 minutes? And I just remember like that, like sheer kind of sense of panic. And, but then I kind of remember that feeling, and that's what led to me getting a lot better at legless row climbs over the next year. Because every time I was like, all right, I don't want to do another set to failure. I don't want to do more legless row climbs today. I take myself back to that and remember that feeling. Definitely one of the worst feelings I ever had. But afterwards, it wasn't really that bad because it was kind of good as what it is now.
Yeah. Asymmetric gear said two to three. I think that's a ratio, is it? 2 to 3
I think so.
likes to watching ratio is Hall of Fame level. Is that this? I can't see how many likes there are. Are you talking about this? That's pretty cool if it's that high. You're a popular guy, Colton. So I know about you because I mean I probably would have eventually figured out who you were and that you're worth following in time. But I know about you because of Savan. So it's like I feel like Savan, between yourself and Savan, you have cultivated and gained like cult level status where it's interesting to me. I remember at the start being like, who the fuck is this guy and why is Savan bringing him on? Like, I don't get it. And then I was like, wow, I really like this guy. And then it was like, oh man, I love this guy. And then following more and more and becoming more familiar with you. And then, like, getting to spend a small bit of time with you and stuff only confirmed all that. But it's remarkable that you fit this perfect kind of gap that's been left where the only thing that's missing is the affiliate aspect because you fit the perfect mold of the CrossFitters from like 2007 CrossFit Games athletes up until 2015. Like you fit that perfect mold of like you have a job that's demanding, you have like your own, like you're building your own house, your own shed, all that shit, like you're helping your family, you're doing work, you're training, burning the candle at both ends, trying to get shit done. You don't have this like, oh, I'm just like my in-house chiropractor lives in my fucking spare room and comes in and works with me every 5 minutes. Or you don't have like camera crews following you around. You do your vlog, but you do it on your phone and her phone. It's not like this big high production level thing. It's still really good, but it's not like glossy. And I think like leaning into that is like so intelligent. I feel like you're not even doing it on purpose, that it's just like your natural inclination to do it, but it's so good because you've broken the mold that's been created over the last 4 or 5 years that you have to be all in, that you have to be like, this has to be your job. You have to be a professional CrossFitter, as in have no other distractions. You have to like, cut yourself off from everything, and you have to have all this income, this huge stream of income from all the different things, and you have to have all this like shiny shit like that. You're just basically disproving all of that, and you're showing everyone, including like people like me that train at home or people that just go to their affiliate, like you're showing them that like you don't actually need all that fancy shit. Like you just actually have to put your head down and just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. First thing, I definitely have to thank Zavon. That his unique brain and interest just kind of really latched onto me and kind of was a great launching pad and propelled me, and has even helped a ton with like just you call them like the Sevenistas or the network of people around him, like Gabe and Papers, and working with them, and all the great people I've met. So I had to thank Savon big time for asking me to do the interview way back in the day. I almost said no, but I was kind of on like a mental kick where I'm like, I don't remember where I heard it from, but it was something like, just say yes to every opportunity, no matter what it is. You can't let any like opportunity kind of go by. So um, definitely back then, even still kind of today, like wasn't like excited to do like podcast or interview, just being like more reserved and very shy person. Really didn't want to do the interview with Siobhan, but ended up saying yes, and now here we are. But yeah, like when I first started training here at home, like during the school year in college, I'd be up at CrossFit Kilo, and that gym is like, you're not going to find anything better than that in terms of coaches, community to be around, training equipment. Like if you want to be a competitive athlete, that's about as good as you're going to get, especially in the state of Iowa. I mean, they have everything that you can think of. It's a huge facility. And I would come home for the summers to work on the farm. And I started off training with my dad had an old like powerlifting barbell. It was like the ones that we use for CrossFit, like 28 or 28 and a half millimeters round or whatever. This is like a thick one, and it didn't really spin, and it was all rusted. And had a set of cast iron plates, like 45 pounds down to like 5 pounds, and we were missing the 25-pound plate because we used it for a weight for a trot line fishing a couple summers before that. And so I remember like loading up that bar and having like the 25 on one side and like the two tens and a 5 on the other to get the weights to balance out. And yeah, I was just like training back in a red woodshed on a patch of dirt, and I had a pole that I nailed up between two trees. I did pull-ups on that, and then had a tire from the farm that I did box jumps on, and had a vest that was so cheap it didn't come with a strap. I had to duct tape it to myself to do Murph and things like that. And then from there, I moved into the shed by his house, and then eventually the garage. And now here we are. But yeah, definitely like I am like the new kind of age of CrossFitter, but I very much subscribe to kind of the old mentality and like the old days of 2011 to 14 where like there wasn't like so much equipment available like to buy stuff. You might have to build it yourself, or you got to build your own rig or kind of do different things like that. And I was actually looking at Hiller's video where he talked about this difference between CrossFitters, like the Chris Spielers and the Rich Fronins to like what you have today. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about it a lot. Like I remember yesterday or the day before, but about kind of why that difference was, because I definitely like the older style better. But it is kind of like, back then if you've been doing CrossFit for 2 years, now then like I've only been doing it for 2 years. Like I've been competing against guys who've been doing this for a decade, but back then if you're doing it for 2 years, you've been doing it for a long time. Everybody else has also been doing it for 2 years, maybe 1 year, so you can get to be a games athlete level very quickly, and you're not having to try and break through, going against people who are training full time and been doing this for a decade. So I think there's more availability to do it while having a full time job. It was easier to do it that way, and also I think it was probably easier to open and run a successful affiliate back then because there were not as many affiliates around. So, if you're the only game in town, you're probably going to get a lot more clients. And, if you're the third affiliate within the 8 mile radius or whatever, and I think that's also probably part of it. And, it's also like, it'd be very difficult for somebody to get into CrossFit, open an affiliate, and then become a games athlete while dealing with everything that comes with owning and operating an affiliate. Just like if you're coaching the late class and then the coach is supposed to coach your 5:30 class doesn't, can't show up, then you gotta go get up early and coach that and just things like that. And like I would love to kind of be like that Froning or Spieler from back in the day that owns an affiliate and trains as a games athlete. But for my particular situation, like with where I live, I'm definitely not opening up an affiliate in Hillsboro. Like the closest town would be Mount Pleasant, and they already have a great affiliate. Ali coaches there. The owners are really great, and it's called CrossFit Teo, and they have a great member base. And like so, first of all, like I wouldn't want to open a competing affiliate with them. It's like Mount Pleasant's really not a big enough town to even do that in, to have two affiliates. It's like first of all, I probably would just lose all my money because there's already an affiliate there. And
You could open the affiliate and just charge Ali like whatever $4,500 a month, and then that'll cover your affiliate fee plus give you a bit of
yeah.
pocket money.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely harder to do it the way that a lot of the people did back in the day. And if you, it's really hard to break through to the games now unless you're somebody who has been doing this, from a teenager, and maybe you already have that experience and the skills built up, or you already have some sponsorship stuff going to allow you to train full time, or if you're somebody who's just one of those uber talented people who can break through right away and get that immediate sponsorship. I mean, it's really hard to break through when you're competing against people who've been doing this a long time and they're training full time. And it's like, are you going to put in that commitment to train for the next 5 or 6 years to develop your skills and your fitness while working full time? And you're going to be able to get to that level. And it's difficult without some financial backing. But
Um,
Will there's a will, there's a way.
Do you know what your Cindy score is?
Cindy is that's 30 minutes. Is that the EMOM or is that the AMRAP?
Cindy is the AMRAP, isn't it? Of pull-ups.
Pull-ups,
Was it 5,
push-ups,
10,
and
15?
squats. I did. I haven't done that workout in so long. I remember it was in college when I did it, and it was 40 something rounds. I remember I did Mary in my dad's garage the year that they did it at the games. I thought it was pretty cool because I would have beat Noah's score who won that event by like 3 rounds or something like that. But
Wow.
I remember being sore for like 10 days afterwards.
Gave yourself rhabdo, but you beat Noah. Well, you beat the happy guy even before you're
Yeah.
competing against him. You largely do your own programming, isn't that true?
So like I do, like Kilo Trained is the, I guess, programming you can say I'm affiliated with.
Yeah.
So like I do all their strength work. But I think at this level, you need to have personalized programming to some extent. So I kind of use them as like my framework, and I'll do basically all their strength work to a T. I just do that unless like right now we're in a squat cycle. So my emphasis is more on Olympic lifts and less on squatting and powerlifting right now because I already have that squat base built up plenty to where it needs to be. I need to get my Olympic lifts to catch up. So it's like small tweaks there. And then as far as like Metcons go, it's a lot of like looking at their workout and then modifying either movements or rounds or adding something to it to fit what I need to work on. I think like especially for me being an athlete with like really big strengths and weaknesses, you have to have some kind of individualized programming to an extent.
Have you ever had other camps like call and be like, "Hey, why don't you come and join us, and we'll give you loads of money to say you're one of ours"?
Nobody's offered to pay me. Mayhem reached out offering like a free programming and a discount code or whatever, but they send that to like they send a message I think to every individual games athlete almost every year for that same deal. But no, I haven't really had any like legitimate offers from camps or anything like that.
Oh, this is such a smooth segue. Did you go to Mayhem on the way home from Crash?
On the way out there, we stopped and got some coffee. Uh, on the way back, I went and did a workout. I didn't go because I was embarrassed that I lost to Austin and he's a Mayhem athlete. So I stayed in the hotel.
Oh, I was really hoping you were going to say I stayed in the car. That would have been even better. You're just, I love the idea of like Rory or Roman or someone walking in and like glancing into a car and be like, "Is that Colten Mertens in the car?" Oh, that's pretty funny. So Kilo trained for the foreseeable and like loving it and doing your own stuff on top of their stuff. Yeah, 40 rounds is absolutely nuts. That's like a round every 30 seconds because it's a 20-minute AMRAP. So it's around every 30 seconds of Cindy. You should do it again because I reckon you'll probably beat that again as well.
Maybe I'll do that once we get the rig built.
Yeah, that's crazy. So the plan then for the rest of the year, you have Wadapalooza. That's the next focus, correct?
Yep.
And
We got 77 or 78 days out.
Wow, that's very specific. Have you got that written on a board somewhere and you're like crossing them off one by one?
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Do you actually really have that?
Yeah, each day I'll go to the whiteboard and erase it and then write down the new number.
Do you think you might do any of these workouts this weekend, any of the rogue ones? Like, are you tempted to try any of them and see how you fare?
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of depend on how things are going with training. What kind, if it falls into training well. But yeah, we have like these big round posts that we're going to use to build the wiener dog pen next year. Because like we had to redo the yard and seat it down and everything next year before we build their permanent pen. So I was thinking about taking, it's like they have the log muscle ups. So I was going to take some of them and build a pull-up bar with that and try that log workout, I think sometime. Then there's definitely others I'll try. It's kind of hard to replicate a lot of those events because they have so many things that are specific to the site, like the trail for the run and the hill and things like that.
You don't have you got a 100-pound ruck?
No.
You're like, thank fuck I don't have a 100-pound ruck. I'm not doing that one. I'll do any of the other ones, but I'm not doing that one. Yeah, that's cool. Because you did the qualifiers for that. Is that like?
Mm.
Do you think would that competition be peak Colton? Is that like because there's a bit of farm strong in it? There's a bit of like grunt. There's a bit of like. Would you love to tackle that?
There's definitely a lot of events I do really well in. I think some things it's hard to tell. Like I don't know how the Surgus dumbbell would go and some of the implements and things like that. And I'm not sure how like the log lift would have went last year.
Yeah.
But overall, it's usually a pretty good competition as far as like programming goes and what fits my strengths. It's usually pretty good. But yeah, for that qualifier, I'm just not in a position to perform that quickly after the games. Um, yeah, it just wasn't enough time to like recover and then get my body in shape to perform again. So I ended up doing terrible on the qualifier. So I'll just have to make sure I'm top 15 next year so I can get an invite.
Do you think? I don't think this is crazy at all. Do you think someone will stop during that run and someone won't complete it?
I don't think
A
anybody
hundred pound
will not
mile.
complete it.
I don't know, man.
I
I
think
don't know.
I think it'll be a lot better than what people are thinking. I think the ruck will probably sit pretty well, and they'll be able to carry a lot of weight probably on their hips. So it won't be like carrying a 100-pound sandbag. I don't think. So I think they'll be fine. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody
I don't know.
will
I
quit in the
wouldn't be
middle of
overly surprised if someone. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, what the fuck do I know? So Wadapalooza and then open quarters, semis, games, and then Dubai and Rogue and Wadapalooza and everything next year when you finish like 7th and get your invite for everything for turning up.
it. Yeah, exactly. That'd
That's
be
cool.
great. I love competing. I like doing a lot of off-season comps. Yeah, I like competing in general, and I think it's always good to get more data about where you're at and where your competitors are at.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, listen, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy. Thanks for coming on. It's been great to chat to you. I love you, man. You're good. You're a really good dude. Like you're good fun, good to talk to. Best of luck with the 72 more days. And yeah, we'll see you in Miami.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. This was definitely one of the more fun podcasts.